There was a man everyone admired. He smiled at strangers. He encouraged his coworkers. He laughed the loudest at every joke. If you met him once, you would say, "What a confident, positive person." But what no one knew was that every night, when the world went quiet, his smile disappeared, and the silence became unbearable. This is the story of the man who smiled at everyone, but was hiding a secret. His name was John, 34 years old, successful marketing manager, well-dressed, sharp speaker, the kind of person who walked into a room and instantly owned it. People often said, "I wish I had his confidence." But confidence is sometimes just well-practiced performance. Every morning before work, John stood in front of the mirror. He didn't check his hair first. He checked his expression. Smile. Relax the eyebrows. Lift the chin slightly. Breathe. "Okay," he would whisper. "Let's go." Because once he stepped outside, the mask had to stay on. John was unstoppable. He motivated his team. He handled pressure calmly. He cracked jokes in meetings. When projects failed, he said, "We'll fix it. Don't worry." When someone else felt insecure, he said, "You're doing better than you think." But no one ever asked him, "And how are you?" Not because they didn't care, but because he never gave them a reason to. See, the strongest-looking person in the room is often the least questioned. John wasn't always this way. As a child, he cried easily. When his father lost his job, he saw fear in his mother's eyes. When money became tight, the house became silent. One evening, he heard his parents arguing. His father said, "I can't let them see me weak." That sentence carved itself into John's mind. "I can't let them see me weak." From that day forward, he made a silent decision. He would never be the reason someone else felt worried. So he became the strong one, the stable one, the smiling one. Years passed. The habit became personality. The personality became identity. But here's the problem with emotional masking. When you hide sadness long enough, you forget how to express it. When John felt stressed, he smiled. When he felt hurt, he joked. When he felt overwhelmed, he worked harder. His friends admired his mental strength. But strength without release turns into pressure. And pressure builds quietly. John had panic attacks. Not in public. Never in public. They happened at night. His chest would tighten. His heart would race. His mind would whisper, "What if you fail? What if they realize you're not as strong as they think? What if one day you can't hold this together?" But the next morning, perfect smile, perfect posture, perfect performance. No one suspected the war behind the confident eyes. One afternoon during a presentation, something unusual happened. Mid-sentence, his voice cracked. His hands trembled slightly. For the first time in years, he felt exposed. The room went quiet. He expected judgment. He expected disappointment. But instead, someone said gently, "Take your time." Another colleague offered water. And for the first time, John didn't recover instantly. He paused. And in that pause, the mask slipped. Just a little. That evening, he sat alone in his apartment. No music, no distractions, just truth. He realized something painful. He had spent his whole life being strong for others, but had never allowed anyone to be strong for him. He wasn't confident. He was afraid of being seen as weak. And those are not the same thing. The next day something changed. Not dramatically, not publicly, but intentionally. When a coworker asked, "How are you?" he didn't say, "Great." He said, "Honestly, I've been a bit stressed lately." The world didn't collapse. No one judged him. In fact, they opened up too. One shared anxiety. Another admitted burnout. Another talked about family pressure. John realized his strength wasn't in hiding pain. It was in allowing vulnerability. Emotional masking is a survival strategy. We learn it when vulnerability feels unsafe. We build it when we think our value depends on being strong. But here's the truth. Confidence without vulnerability is isolation. True confidence says, "I can be strong and still admit I struggle." If you know someone who is always smiling, always helping, always confident, look a little deeper. And if you are that person, ask yourself gently, who do you allow to see the real you? Because the man who smiles at everyone might be carrying more than anyone knows. And sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is stop pretending you're unbreakable. You don't have to hide your pain to deserve respect. You don't have to be perfect to be strong. And you don't have to smile to prove your worth.